Welcome back. All right, so some news of the day for everybody for their Friday, October 29th. Halloween this weekend, all that other wonderful stuff. So Kevin Cheveldayoff had his meeting with the commissioner, Gary Bettman. It was announced by the NHL after there will not be action taken against Kevin Cheveldayoff. And there are people coming down on either side in this debate. For me, I understand why Cheveldayoff would not have necessarily been put out of his job with the Winnipeg Jets. And we'll see. I don't think this is all done either. The whole Brad Aldrich fallout will continue. So the Chicago Blackhawks, I'm skipping to the bottom with this because, wow. The Chicago Blackhawks have written to the NHL asking for Brad Aldrich's name to be removed from the Stanley Cup. Okay, so his name was put on the cup when they already knew what was going on. He had his day with the Stanley Cup. He got a Stanley Cup ring. He was at the celebration. And again, this is when it was all known. When it had gone to HR, and then HR gave him the option of stepping aside and stepping down. And wow. Yep, okay. So, yeah, now the ownership's like, we should probably get his name taken off the Stanley Cup. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. No idea that just, I don't replace it with Kyle Beach. And also, the Chicago Blackhawks have said things publicly. They have not stopped fighting the lawsuits brought against them in this case. So at this point, Kyle Beach's situation is no different. He is still suing the Blackhawks, and while they've said they're going to look into settling out of court, nothing's changed to this point. Nothing. So we'll see how that goes. So all of that aside, there is stuff hockey related to talk about that's not around the Hawks and all of the fallout from that. The Toronto Maple Leafs, right here, they could bring this back as an Adidas too. I wouldn't mind that, or do this for the reverse retro next time. Do this in green, right? All right. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have extended Morgan Rielly, and I'm wondering how the cap's going to work with this. It's 8 years at $7.5 million. The debate with Rielly has been, how are they going to be able to afford it? The answer is, we can, we will, apparently is still the motto of this team. $60 million, so $7.5 million a year for Rielly. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see how things work out for Toronto with this. Because, again, the cap exists. And we've already seen with Toronto some issues with the depth on this team that may very well be related to the amount of money that was being spent on the top four guys. And now it's going to be the top five, and it's a lot of money, right? So Rielly, his situation is settled. There will be no trade. He will not be a free agent next summer. And I was already seeing people saying, well, he can go and they can replace him with somebody else. My answer to that has always been, but who? Who are you going to get? And especially, where are you going to find a number one defenseman at $7.5 million a year? The question with Rielly really is he a number one defenseman on a Stanley Cup winner? Would you see Morgan Rielly and say, this is a guy who can lead a team to a Stanley Cup? And I understand that there's a lot more to it than that. But your number one defenseman, usually on a Stanley Cup winner, is a pretty impressive defenseman. Really quite good. Usually it's somebody who's had the Norris or has been close to it. And so, yeah, we'll see how this all works out for Toronto. Because it kicks in next year. There's a lot of time for Kyle Dubas to move pieces around if he needs to. But if this team doesn't make the playoffs, or if they make the playoffs and they lose in the first round again, and if the entire core is signed beyond this year, yeah, I don't know what happens from there. Max Domi is ahead of schedule. He's actually back in tonight's game. He was supposed to be out 2 to 4 weeks with a rib fracture. Turns out it's a little bit over a week that he's been out. So he's back a little bit early. I hope he's 100% because I am sure that members of the Rangers will test how strong his ribs are. Probably a thunderous hit or two here and there. I do believe, though, that Ryan Reeves is on IR, so it won't be coming from Reeves, but there'll be somebody with the Rangers who's willing to test and see how those ribs are functioning. After last night's loss against Winnipeg, Coach Todd McClellan vents about the 1-5-1 start for the Kings and how they seem to lose games they should win, and they are. They are definitely losing games that they should win. That by all standards, they should be winning these games, and they're not. So the problem with that may be that could come back on him, where the team goes, yeah, we are losing those games we should be winning. So what is your plan here? For the Kings, again, they're without Doughty, they're without Byfield, they're without Walker. This is a team that's lost some key players, and while a lot of teams do, if you're a team that doesn't have a lot of depth, that can make a huge difference right there. And I don't know who could replace Doughty. Doughty was off to a fantastic start, so we'll see for the Kings. For the Kings, how much further this goes. Actually, accidentally bit my tongue there. So we'll see how it goes for the Kings from here. But the 1-5-1 start tells you it could be a long year for Los Angeles, but it could be a long year for Anaheim as well. And so those two California teams, we might be looking at one of them getting Bedard. Maybe that's how this ends up working out for them in the long run, right? Or Shane Wright. So it's Wright in 2022, and that's Bedard in 2023. And I think either of the California teams I just mentioned would be quite happy to get him. Although San Jose, with 3 losses in a row, it's possible they end up in this conversation sooner rather than later as well. It is still very early in the season. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.